This page is the front cover of issue 12 of the Dreamcast magazine from October 2000. The big headline screams, "Metropolis Street Racer with the world-exclusive review," and the tagline, "Read the review, play the game." It also shouts about an exclusive demo disc with 4 playable games. Down the bottom it lists other games reviewed in this issue, including Virtua Tennis, WWF Royal Rumble, Railroad Tycoon 2, Virtua Athlete and South Park Rally, plus many more. It's clear Metropolis Street Racer is the main draw for this issue though. This month's DreamOn cover disc features 4 playable demos: Metropolis Street Racer, exclusive Tokyo Circuit demo, Space Channel 5, Guide Ulala with dance moves, Wacky Races, Racers classic characters in Redwood Valley, and Sydney 2110 meters hurdles. Movie previews include F355 Challenge, WWF Royal Rumble, and Pod 2, Futuristic Racing. Editor Warren Christmas highlights the exclusive Metropolis Street Racer review and mentions the game's October 20th release. The magazine also includes interviews, Dreamcast features, and 12 game reviews, including Virtua Tennis and WWF Royal Rumble. A note addresses faulty cover discs, directing subscribers to a Bristol address for replacements. The magazine's new address is listed in London. Issue 12 of the magazine, dated October 2000, features articles on the Dreamcast. Features include skater opinions on Jet Set Radio, a spotlight on DJ Mr. Scruff, and a look at the Dreamcast's future with Sega Europe's boss. Previews covers ESPN International Track and Field, Looney Tunes Space Race, Urban Chaos, Tokyo Highway Challenge 2, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Genjo, and Silent Scope. Reviews highlight Metropolis Street Racer, Virtua Tennis, San Francisco Rush 2049, WWF Royal Rumble, and more. Other sections include a Dreamcast Owner's Guide, regulars with news and charts, and hints and tips for Echo the Dolphin and Tony Hawk skateboarding. Screenshots showcase Virtua Athlete 2K, Silent Scope, and Metropolis Street Racer among others. Dreamcast magazine introduces key team members. Art editor Steve Neves focuses on aesthetics, while production editor Vanessa Hards brings a heavy metal vibe. Online editor Richie Shoemaker enjoys both console and PC games, and Chris Edmondson, a computer science student, contributes with player guides. The magazine's masthead provides contact details for key staff, including the editor and chairman, alongside address and website information. An advertisement promotes the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game. The page also offers contact numbers for Sega customer support, game hints, and magazine subscriptions/back issues. The next page is a visually striking postcard design, emblazoned with "You've visited London" in bold text. It's a collage of classic London sights. You've got the London Eye, Trafalgar Square with Nelson's Column, the bright lights of Piccadilly Circus, the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben, and Buckingham Palace. Greetings from London is written in a stylish yellow script. It's a very touristy vibe, like you're flicking through holiday snaps, but it certainly catches the eye. This page is an advert for Metropolis Street Racer, or MSR as it's known. It's using a postcard-style layout, very much in keeping with the previous page's Greetings from London theme. The tagline is, "Now get ready to race in London." The world's most detailed driving game, which is a bold claim, but MSR was known for its graphical detail for the time. The ad showcases various London landmarks like Trafalgar Square, Piccadilly Circus, the Houses of Parliament, and Buckingham Palace, all rendered in the game engine. It's definitely pushing the London setting hard, which was a big selling point for the game. The next page is another advert for Metropolis Street Racer, building on the previous page's London theme. It's got a striking image of the orange sports car speeding through city streets at night, really showing off the game's visuals. The tagline is quite catchy, mentioning someone called Ed Lomas queuing for ages to get it, suggesting it's a highly anticipated title. The text is a bit of a preview, talking about how driving games were becoming a bit samey and how MSR is trying something different. It mentions moving away from just track racing, describing it as more of an adrenaline rush, and even comparing collecting cars to Pokemon, which is a funny comparison. They highlight that it's developed by Liverpool-based Bizarre Creations and published by Sega, and it's priced at £39.99. It's also flagged as essential and on the CD, so it must be a must-have title, and probably has a demo on the magazine's cover disc. The quote, "It's not about how fast you are, it's about how you are fast," is featured, which seems to be a core message of the game. Overall, it's pushing MSR as a fresh and exciting take on the driving game genre. Metropolis Street Racer focuses on realistic city recreations, emphasizing authenticity in Tokyo, London, and San Francisco. The game meticulously details these environments, from buildings to neon signs, creating a strong sense of place. Players will experience diverse driving scenarios, including night racing and daytime runs, with a variety of cars like the Toyota Celica and Nissan Skyline. The game incorporates mechanics like car performance scale and kudos to reward stylish driving. Gameplay is structured into chapters and stages, with challenges such as timed runs and special stages. The text hints at consequences for poor driving. The overall aim is to provide a driving experience that prioritizes style and exploration within these detailed virtual cities, going beyond just speed. Warrington. Metropolis Street Racer rewards stylish driving with kudos, earned by completing tasks and beating target times, with jokers offering a risk/reward boost. The game emphasizes style over pure speed, encouraging players to set their own goals and show off skillful maneuvers. Poor driving leads to kudos deductions. Players begin with a limited selection of dream machine cars from 16 manufacturers, expandable to over 50, and can customize them. Swapping cars incurs a cost. The game encourages power sliding and dramatic cornering, drawing comparisons to titles like Gran Turismo. The preview suggests a thrilling experience, combining elements from various racing games to create a driving enthusiast's dream, showcased through gameplay screenshots in recognizable cityscapes. This article previews Metropolis Street Racer, highlighting its focus on skillful driving and rewarding style over pure speed. A Speak-Out interview with producer Brian Woodhouse discusses the game's kudos system and the reasons for its delay, attributed to ensuring a high-quality experience. The article also praises the game's immersive sound design, emphasizing realistic engine noises, windscreen wipers, and gravel sounds. Finally, a rough guide to the world section details the diverse environments across San Francisco, London, and Tokyo. Each city offers unique driving challenges, such as the twisty roads of San Francisco's Fisherman's Wharf, the tight corners of London's Trafalgar Square, and the neon-lit streets of Tokyo's Shibuya. Metropolis Street Racer offers diverse gameplay across 10 street racing stages, with modes like Hot Lap, Timed Run, 101, Street Race, Championship, Challenge, and special events. Praised for its polish and attention to detail, the game features online World Ranking League and Dreamcast VM compatibility for score sharing. The superb rated game highlights kudos, graphics, handling, sound, circuits, and cars as strengths. The game provides significant content with over 240 stages. Max players is 2, with video options including bordered 50Hz, full screen 60Hz, and VGA compatibility. Screenshots showcasing various cars and city environments like London emphasize the game's immersive qualities. The next page is an advert for Metropolis Street Racer, MSR. It features a striking shot of the back of that Vauxhall Verts 220, with the tagline, "It's not how fast you drive, it's how you drive fast." It's got the official Dreamcast Magazine logo with a 9/10 score plastered on there, along with all the logos for MSR, Bizarre Creations, Dreamcast, and SEGA. Proper good advert for a proper good game. Dreamcast news includes a revamped Dream Arena online portal with improved usability and the upcoming DreamKey 2.0 software. DreamKey 2.0 will support the new Dreamcast mouse, 3 buttons, scroll wheel, and Dreamcast microphone, both expected in late October for around £18 to £20. A 4X memory unit with 512 kilobit storage is also launching for approximately £19.99. Furthermore, the Dreamcast console itself is receiving a price cut, now retailing for under £150, £149. This price drop aims to attract more players, particularly with anticipated releases like Shenmue, Jet Set Radio, Half-Life, and Samba de Amigo. Virtua Tennis is also launching on the same day as the price drop, solidifying the console's appeal. This article previews upcoming Dreamcast games. Phantasy Star Online promises a large-scale online RPG with real-time battles and teamwork, featuring strange creatures and a potential December release. Tony Hawk's Skateboarding 2 offers expanded content, including a skatepark editor and a soundtrack featuring Rage Against the Machine. Sonic Shuffle is a board game with Sonic characters and minigames, set to release early next year. Also coming are Unreal Tournament with online play and Star Wars Demolition, a vehicular combat game. SEGA Marine Fishing is coming with extra home features. Other sports games are also in development. Finally, there are reviews of music albums. News. Dreamcast gamers have plenty to anticipate. The UK Console Championship for Soul Calibur is in the finals. Publisher Infogrames cancelled Dreamcast versions of UEFA 2001 and Supreme Snowboarding due to a change in strategy, not a market exit. Excitingly, sequels are planned for Crazy Taxi and Virtua Tennis. Hitmaker is developing, with Virtua Tennis 2 potentially introducing female players. Crazy Taxi might also undergo significant changes. A Have Your Say section features a reader vote for upcoming games, with a prize of a visual memory unit. Shenmue leads the top 10 most wanted games, followed by Metropolis Street Racer and Half-Life. The previous month's winner was Chris Potter, who had predicted some top titles. Dreamcast Magazine previews Fish Life, a quirky interactive aquarium from SEGA, potentially remaining exclusive to Japanese arcades. Worms World Party by Team 17 is announced, promising online multiplayer and customization. Smilebit, creators of Jet Set Radio, are developing 100 Swords, an online strategy game. SEGA is testing a payment scheme called At Barai in Japan, offering cheap initial game chapters. DC, with Championship Surfer, is on the way for surfing enthusiasts. However, Codemasters cancelled the Dreamcast version of Colin McRae Rally 2.0, in a blow for racing fans. Finally, colored controllers are coming to the UK in transparent blue, green, orange and yellow. This page delves into previews for a couple of upcoming Dreamcast titles. First up is Girls with Balls, which is a rather cheeky headline for SEGA Worldwide Soccer 2001. They are adding women's teams to this iteration, aiming to appeal to female gamers, particularly in the US market. They're boasting improved graphics with more realistic player models and animations, thanks to motion capture. The developer is quoted saying they've made goalkeepers tougher to beat this time around. It's slated for release in December. Then there's Back Again, which is about Lara Croft and Tomb Raider Chronicles coming to the Dreamcast sooner than expected. It sounds like this one will be flashbacks to earlier Lara adventures rather than continuing directly from the previous game's cliffhanger. Apparently, one level is set in Ireland and another on a German U-boat, which sounds intriguing. Eidos plans to release Tomb Raider Chronicles in November. Down at the bottom of the page are some adverts, one for MTV Sports Skateboarding featuring T.H. MacDonald, and another for THQ. The HMV Top 10 Dreamcast games in Great Britain are led by Dead or Alive 2, followed by Wafer Striker, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Grand Theft Auto 2, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Fighting Force 2, Tony Hawk Skateboarding, Crazy Taxi, and Wacky Races complete the top 10. The broader chart track, Top 20, mirrors this with Dead or Alive 2, and includes titles like Sega Bass Fishing, Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, and Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation. Chris Edmondson's playlist highlights Soul Calibur, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Street Fighter 2i, Double Impact, Crazy Taxi, Street Fighter Alpha 3, and NFL Blitz 2000. Analysis points out Dead or Alive 2's dominance and Resident Evil Code, Veronica's success. A competition to win the top 10 games asks about Dead or Alive 2. A coupon for a £5 discount at HMV is also included. This page is all about gadgets and gizmos under the heading Toys for Boys and Girls. It kicks off with a bit about different types of tea, namely Yorkshire tea, Tetley drawstring bags, and Twinings English breakfast, all essential teas apparently. Moving on, there's the message bag, described as a talking bean bag, good for leaving messages. Then it highlights the Apple Power Mac G4 Cube, noting its compact design and powerful specs, mentioning it was available with matching speakers, keyboard, and mouse. Next up are Robot Wars replicas, based on the popular TV show, expected in December and available from Logistics Kids Retail. There's a Swatch.Beat Jelly Watch, which is a bit of a techie timepiece, using beats instead of hours. Finally, and probably of most interest, are Sonic action figures from Sonic Adventure, which hit shops soon. The magazine gave Sonic Adventure a 9 out of 10 in a previous issue, and these figures come with a display stand and a ring, with a larger 11-inch deluxe figure for the real fans. They are available from Bandai UK. This article explores opinions on the upcoming game Jet Set Radio through interviews with various skaters. The participants, ranging from graphic designers to school kids, were asked about their preferred mode of transport: bikes, blades or boards, worst falls, thoughts on the game, and experiences with the police. Overall, the reactions to Jet Set Radio are positive. Most interviewees praise the game's graphics, tricks, and graffiti elements. Duncan and Stewart were especially enthusiastic. Some were more critical, like MC.X, who still acknowledged impressive stunts. The article highlights the game's urban street culture theme, referencing a November release and reassuring players that UK police behaviour differs from the game. More. This page is an interview piece titled Scruff at the Top, under the Talent section, featuring Dan Trent talking to Mr. Scruff. It seems to be about Mr. Scruff's music and how it fits into Sega Extreme Sports. They call him obsessed with fish and highlight his music in Sega games. Daitanu, Dinabida Mr. Scruff, or Andy Carthy as he's also known, describes his style as cheeky, and he's got quite the record collection, about 10,000 strong. He's made music for Sega Extreme Sports. Remember that one? It was previewed last issue, and Norwegian developers Innerloop were behind it, turning to Scruff and his label Ninja Tunes for the music. He mentions his track Sea Mammal was his first single, and talks about a love for aquatic themes, hinting at more fishy tunes to come. He's even done music for Sega Marine Fishing, and another track called Do You Hear ended up in a Volvo advert, showing his range. He jokes about avoiding being pigeonholed into creating Pokemon craze-style music, preferring to draw cartoons and create his own distinctive style. Apparently his album Keep It Unreal, which has some of the tracks from Sega Extreme Sports, is out now on Ninja Tunes. He's also a regular DJ, playing slots at Fabric in London, Planet K in Manchester, and Concord in Brighton. Sounds like a busy chap, but he's enjoying the gaming world and the creative freedom it brings. This page delves into the future of the Dreamcast with Warren Christmas, Sega Europe's top man, giving us the lowdown. It's all about the next step for the console, focusing on Dream Arena and the new internet browser. Christmas reckons it's time for a change, and they're pushing the Dreamcast as more than just a games machine. He talks about Sega's branding strategy, mentioning they spent big on promoting the Dreamcast brand itself rather than specific games, and that the aim was to get across that it wasn't just a games console but a gateway to the internet world for everyone, not just hardcore gamers. He jokes about needing 6 hours to explain the branding strategy properly, calling it complex. They're aiming for the machine to be seen as the best, not just in graphics or speed, but because it offered something more access to the internet. Sega Europe's JF Cecilon emphasizes a careful approach to the Dreamcast's online strategy, prioritizing quality over speed. He's pleased with the positive reception of Dream Arena, their online gaming platform. Sega delayed the Dreamcast's launch to ensure a solid online infrastructure, with Choo Choo Rocket as their initial online game. Dream Eye, a video conferencing camera, has been delayed. Quake 2 iArena is highlighted as a crucial title for the platform's online success. Dream Arena Limited was created to manage online activities and has over 300,000 European registrations, with a high percentage of active users. Sega plans to expand Dream Arena with film, music and sports content, and will use data mining to enhance user engagement. The company sees Dream Arena as key to the Dreamcast's future. This page details the Dream Arena revamp, Sega Europe's online portal for the Dreamcast. It's been given a major makeover, designed to be more user-friendly and less like a website and more like a TV experience. According to Luck Houselander, Dream Arena's Internet Design Manager, they've implemented customizable shortcut links for quick access to different areas. More sections are coming online, including chat rooms and message boards, all accessible through the Vortex area, which handles promotions and games, Dream Shop, email and help. Dream Arena is designed for expansion into special interest groups, aiming to create communities around shared interests. There will be richer content too, with Dream Screen launching soon, offering film and cinema listings through a deal with Virgin Net. They're also planning to introduce sport and music-related news and reviews. Nearkatu, the page also highlights the new email system, enabling attachments, and shows screenshots of the Dream Arena interface, email system, and an email attachment being viewed. There's a mention of Choo Choo Rocket as part of special promotions. The Vortex area is described as a hub for online games, pub quizzes and competitions. DreamKey 2.0, the upgraded Dreamcast web browser, introduces significant enhancements, including the DreamNote instant messenger service for text and voice messages via the Dreamcast microphone. The redesigned Dream Arena integrates these features. Usability is improved with Dreamcast mouse support, offering a more PC-like browsing experience, alongside a new software keyboard and enhanced multimedia capabilities like Flash 3 compatibility and limited MP3 support. The article also previews Quake 2 iArena, a key test for Dream Arena. The Dreamcast version features all PC maps, exclusive levels, and both online multiplayer and split-screen modes. SEGA is focused on smooth online performance, including local servers for European players. The game is slated for an early December release, showcasing the Dreamcast's online capabilities. This page is a big advert for the official Dreamcast magazine. They're doing a trial subscription, you get 3 issues risk-free, and they're really pushing the boat out to get you hooked. If you like it, it's £19.99 for 6 issues, and you get a Sega gaming disc with each one. Those were always worth it. They're also advertising their back issue service, going all the way back to issue 0 from '99 up to September 2000. Looking at the covers, they've featured all the killer apps: Soul Calibur, Resi Code Veronica, Crazy Taxi, Metropolis Street Racer, and Lara Croft in Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. Rally 2 also got a cover. There are forms here for subscribing and ordering back issues, with options to pay by check, card, or direct debit. This page is a preview of ESPN International Track and Field, and it sounds like a proper button basher, just like the old arcade track and field games from back in the day. Apparently this one is from Konami and is due out in October. They're saying it's got detailed, smoothly animated athletes and will be excellent with 4 players. There's a bit about how running in real life is stressful, but in this game, it's all about running very quickly in a straight line, which sounds about right for a track and field game. They mention that it's going to be hard on the Dreamcast pads, like the old games were on arcade cabinets. Apparently button bashing is still the order of the day, and they even suggest using 2 fingers on the controller to mash those X and B buttons faster. One screenshot captioned jokes about concrete instead of sand in the long jump pit, and another about a lazy git in the running race. There's a mention of Dreamcast suffering from a glut of athletics games at the time, referencing the official Olympics Tyne Sydney 2000. The review quotes someone saying the game has always been the Linford Christie of the simulated sports world, and that the animation of the competitors is looking excellent. Overall, it sounds like a classic button-mashing sports game, updated for the Dreamcast. The next page has previews for 2 games. First up is ESPN International Track and Field, still sounding like a proper button basher event. This time they're focusing on the weightlifting, calling it Thunder Thighs, and highlighting the tutorial mode which explains the button inputs. They're even joking about repetitive strain injury if you play it too much, suggesting there are hidden events to unlock if you're good enough. They mention it's from Konami, and compare it to Virtua Athlete 2K, in terms of arcade-style gameplay. Riora. Then there's a preview for Looney Tunes, Space Race. This is described as Warner Brothers characters in a kart racer, developed by Melbourne House, and they say Ed Lomas is along for the ride, whoever he is. It's due out in October as well. They mention hilarious cartoon slapstick moments, and bizarre circuit designs, and characters like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are mentioned. Graphically they say it's looking excellent, and they are comparing it to Wipeout and Mario Kart, promising plenty of laughs. They also mention a stuttering Foghorn Leghorn and Acme weapons, so it sounds like typical Looney Tunes craziness. Urban Chaos, an upcoming Dreamcast game from Eidos and Mucky Foot Productions, puts you in the shoes of Darcy Stern, a female cop battling an evil cult. The game boasts an open-ended design, allowing for free exploration and mission selection within a destructible urban environment. With 26 missions and the advice of a helpful ex-cop named Roper, players can choose their approach. The gameplay features intuitive, tactical combat, utilizing a Virtua Cop-style aiming box to manage multiple attackers. The game emphasizes strategic gunplay and a multi-level storyline with choices that influence the experience. Promising high-end PC graphics and a moody atmosphere, Urban Chaos is slated for release this October and aims to be a compelling addition to the Dreamcast's library. The next page features previews of 2 games. First up is Tokyo Highway Challenge 2, which Dan Trent checks out. They acknowledge the first game looked good but wasn't great to drive. This sequel from Genki aims to rectify that with improved handling, longer tracks, and better graphics. They've apparently rewritten almost every line of code and extended the track length significantly, boasting an 180 km course, with polygon counts increased by 4 times. They mention tougher AI opponents who learn tricks, and car customization options. The developer quotes highlight their focus on graphics and improved handling. Screenshots show in-game racing and car modification options in a garage setting. The Timaduwoi. The second preview is for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It poses the question of whether the Dreamcast version can capture the TV show experience. Developed by Hothouse Creations and published by Eidos, it aims to be a faithful adaptation. It mentions pre-recorded voices of Tarrant and lifelines such as phone a friend. Game modes include single-player, multiplayer and a fastest finger mode. There are over 1,000 questions and the game is expected to sell for £20 in September. Screenshots showcase the game show interface and lifelines. This is a preview of Konami's Silent Scope on Dreamcast, a conversion of the arcade hit. The game, due out in November, puts you in the role of a commando with a custom-fit rifle, allowing you to zoom in on detailed cities and take headshots, body shots, and even groin hits. Bikini-clad ladies apparently offer extra life. The Dreamcast version features a split screen with an overview and a scope view. The director, Yasushi Kawasaki, discusses the challenges of converting the arcade experience, including the complexities of recreating the unique rifle and the difficulties of adapting the original hardware. The game retains story and time trial modes, with branching paths and gameplay that's considered challenging but potentially short. Points are awarded for headshots, single bullet kills, and spotting attractive women. The article concludes by noting the Dreamcast version's remarkable similarity to its arcade counterparts. This page continues the preview of Silent Scope, stating, "It's going to be a tough game," with the developer Kawasaki explaining the need for practice to master aiming and compensate for target movement. He mentions new shooting ranges added to the Dreamcast version and the variety of gameplay, from skyscraper sniping to country house incursions. Interestingly, there's a suggestion to use the Dreamcast joypad or even Samba de Amigo Maracas for aiming. It also points out the scoring system, with better body shots earning more points, and even more for shooting off a nose, with bikini-clad ladies still providing bonus lives. Alongside Silent Scope, there's a review section for WWF Royal Rumble on Dreamcast. Dreamcast Magazine itself gave it a whopping 91%, proclaiming, "This really is as good as it gets." Computer and Video Games also gave it a perfect 5 out of 5, calling it another must-have game. The review highlights features like up to 9 wrestlers in the ring, over 20 superstars including The Rock and Rikishi, detailed graphics, signature superstar moves, and a partner interference system. Screenshots show in-game wrestling action and wrestler selection screens, featuring The Rock and Rikishi. It's clearly being positioned as a top wrestling title exclusively for the Dreamcast. This page is a Dreamcast game catalog from Pure Dreamcast. The advertisement highlights their service, offering new Dreamcast games delivered for £27.99 or less. A review of Virtua Tennis praises its graphics, addictive gameplay, and sound design, arguing it revitalizes tennis through video games. Following the review are ODM review scores for various Dreamcast titles, including Caesar's Palace Interplay, 78%, Nightmare Creatures 2, 92%, and others. The page then transforms into a detailed price list from Pure Dreamcast, showcasing numerous Dreamcast games, peripherals, and console bundles, with prices ranging from £9.99 to £52.99. An order form and an explanation of the ODM rating system are also included. Taily. This page is a full-page spread dedicated to Virtua Tennis. It's got a proper rave review, saying it's even better than the arcade game, which is high praise indeed. They're saying Steve Owen is the one making the racket, which is a bit of a pun I reckon, about it being a proper ace game. The review itself talks about British sport in 2000 and how games are a good escape. And Virtua Tennis is brilliant. They mention Tim Henman and think this game is so good it might even make him world #1 in virtual tennis at least. We've got screenshots of gameplay, looks like matches with Henman and Philippoussis, the scoreboards are visible, and there's even a speed indicator showing 0 miles per hour on one shot, maybe not the most powerful serve there then. Overall it's a very positive piece, really pushing Virtua Tennis as a must-have title. This page continues the Virtua Tennis review and dives into the gameplay mechanics, focusing on the just one button control system. It explains how you can control shots and direction with just one button and the joystick, emphasizing its simplicity yet surprising depth for executing various shots. They point out even lobbing is a second button though, which is fair enough. There's a speak out section where they've chatted with Matt Kwiak, the European product manager at SEGA, about what makes the game great. He reckons it's the detail and speed, making it addictive. He even mentions he's been playing Resident Evil Code, Veronica and needs counseling afterwards. A bit of a laugh there. They also touch on using spin and different shot types like topspin and backspin, and there's a section on new balls which mentions training modes and challenges to master the game. Overall, it reinforces how easy to pick up but difficult to master Virtua Tennis is, highlighting the depth hidden beneath the simple control scheme. Virtua Tennis on Dreamcast, reviewed as superb, 9/10, offers arcade tennis with World Circuit mode, featuring tennis stars and training sessions to unlock content. Training involves unique mini-games. Players earn money to unlock characters, locations, and clothing. The review praises its controls, graphics, and multiplayer, while critiquing the AI, lack of female players, and no diving. An advertisement for San Francisco Rush 2049, a racing game with race, stunt, battle modes, promises futuristic racing experiences. It's slated for release on Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, and Game Boy Color on September 22nd. Published by Midway. This page is a review of San Francisco Rush 2049 for the Dreamcast, giving it a solid 7 out of 10 rating. The review highlights it as no classic but an entertaining arcade mix. It mentions the game is all about futuristic racing, with wings and crazy stunts, with Dave Woods being the reviewer. The review points out that despite being set in 2049, there are still trees, which is a good thing apparently. It talks about the fast-paced, brainless arcade racing, emphasizing the spectacular leaps of faith and forgiving nature of the game, where your car is rebuilt after crashes. It mentions different modes like race, stunt, and battle, with the battle mode being particularly highlighted for its nuclear war weapon. The obstacle mode is described as bizarre and terrible. The Speak Out section features Metro Mustafa, a producer from Midway, raving about the game's modes racing, battle, and stunt, and his current Dreamcast games are Virtua Tennis, F355 Challenge, and Street Fighter Alpha 3. He also believes video games are interesting for TV, and dislikes uneducated reviewers. The uppers for the game are listed as All-Out Arcade Action and the Internet Ghost mode, along with decent graphics and smooth frame rate. The downers are no longevity, flawed racing model, and obstacles you can drive straight through. It's priced at £39.99, published and developed by Midway, and they unlocked the intermediate circuit in 1 hour. WWF Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast is reviewed as a chaotic and fun wrestling game, capturing the spirit of the Royal Rumble match. The review emphasizes the excitement of up to 9 wrestlers in the ring simultaneously, the signature moves, and the many real-life references, including The Rock's People's Eyebrow and Rikishi's antics. The 30-man Rumble mode is a highlight, along with team action and weapon usage. The game's developer, Michael Patterson, praises the game's chaotic nature and, notably, considers Rikishi the greatest WWF wrestler. The review concludes with a recommendation for fans of arcade action and WWF wrestling, summarizing the game as a good bit of wrestling fun. This page features a review for WWF Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast, giving it a solid 7 out of 10. It's described as a great arcade-style wrestling game perfect for playing with mates, emphasizing the quick thrills and chaotic action, especially with up to 9 wrestlers on screen. The review highlights the roster of recognizable wrestlers, signature moves, and the 4-player mode as positives. However, it notes some downsides, like only having 2 secret characters, and perhaps not fully utilizing the WWF license. There are screenshots showing in-game action, including Rikishi and Triple H, with humorous captions. The verdict is that it's the best wrestling game on the Dreamcast but not perfect. Shots. Below the review is an advert for Power Stone 2, boasting about its 4-player action, enhanced gameplay, new characters, and loads of weapons. It's declared an awesome game, with a 92% rating from Dreamcast Magazine. Screenshots show the colorful and chaotic 4-player gameplay. The next page features a review of Caesar's Palace 2000, and blimey, Alex Hutola isn't holding back. It's all about virtual gambling, innit? Roulette, blackjack, craps, the usual casino fodder are shown in the screenshots. Apparently, this game boasts a wide variety of gambling games, from cards like Pago Poker and Red Dog, to fruit machines and video poker. The reviewer reckons gambling in a video game is pointless, as virtual money means nought in the real world. The verdict is mildly amusing but certainly not worth the money, and they've slapped a rather poor 3 out of 10 on it. The uppers are a wide selection of games and learning to play craps, and the downers are that winning or losing doesn't matter as it's not real money. Plus the presentation is apparently a bit rough and they suspect the house cheats. Website is listed as interplay.com, and it's for up to 4 players, with bordered PAL and full-screen 60Hz video modes. Sounds like a bit of a dud then. Best sticking to real poker nights down the pub, eh? This page is a review for Railroad Tycoon 2 on the Dreamcast, and Richie Shoemaker seems pretty chuffed with it, calling it incredibly diverse considering the subject matter. He reckons if you thought train games were dull, think again, as this one's got depth. Apparently, the game throws you into chronologically ordered missions, where you're building railroads, managing industries, and making a profit. They mention manufacturing and linking up stations, which sounds pretty involved. There's a speak out section where Rod Barr, CEO of Tremor Interactive, bigs up the graphics, saying it's totally 3D, unlike the PC version, letting you fly around and check out your trains. He calls it the first strategy game for the Dreamcast, which is a bold claim. The review verdict is an original and compelling business sim that is let down by the odd leaf on the line. The uppers are innovative level design and online play, and the downers are the 3D view being unhelpful and the music being a bit bonkers. They give it a solid 7 out of 10, calling it good. Price is £39.99, published by Take-Two, developed by Tremor Entertainment. Website is godgames.com. It's for up to 4 players, and has full-screen 60Hz and VGA-compatible video modes. Sounds like a decent strategy game for the console then. This page is a review for Virtua Athlete 2K, and it seems the reviewer, Alex Hutala, wasn't overly impressed, giving it a 4 out of 10 and calling it below average. The main gripe seems to be longevity, as highlighted in the headline. Where it disappoints is longevity, and the verdict short on longevity and thrills. It's an arcade-style sports sim with 7 events, the standard athletic disciplines like 100 meters dash, long jump, shot put, high jump, hurdles, javelin, and 1,500 meters. Gameplay is described as relying on button bashing. The uppers include 4-player competitions, posting records online and creating your own athlete. However, the downers are the limited 7 events and a disappointing 1,500 meters race, with the reviewer suggesting Sydney 2000 and International Track and Field are superior. The game's price was £39.99, published by SEGA and developed by Hitmaker. There's a speak out section, where Dan Llewellyn, the producer, answers some questions. The screenshots have humorous captions, taking a light-hearted poke at the game's visuals, and some of the animation quirks, for example, asking if a judge is a midget, and mentioning a chicken dance as a potential Olympic event. Llewellyn mentions Virtua Tennis and Sega Rally as his favorite games when asked. Essentially, it sounds like a decent enough arcade-style sports title, but ultimately lacking lasting appeal and depth compared to other games in the genre. Dave Wood's review of Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour is negative, criticizing its repetitive gameplay and poor visuals. He calls the game a one-trick pony, highlighting the Acorn power-up as the central mechanic. Graphics are likened to a low-end PlayStation game, plagued by glitches. While the handling is responsive, power sliding is absent. Trick, the producer, Rick Cowan, highlights the game's aim to capture Disney theme park magic, targeting Disney fans. The review deems the game decidedly average, awarding it a 5/10. Positive aspects include the Disney characters and speed, but negatives include poor graphics, glitches, and uninspired power-ups. Screenshots are sarcastically captioned. The review concludes it's average racing with below-average power-ups, a disappointment. The game, published by Eidos and developed by Crystal Dynamics, is priced at £39.99. This review covers South Park Rally, a kart racer drawing comparisons to Mario Kart, but with a distinct South Park twist. The game emphasizes humor, particularly in its power-ups like chocolate salty balls. Beyond traditional races, objective-based challenges add variety, though the on-screen information and a poor manual can be confusing. The review praises the game's humor, imaginative challenges, and hidden secrets. However, it criticizes initial confusion, easy challenges, and basic level design. The verdict is cool karting that needed more polish, awarding a 6/10 rating. The review also includes details like the price, publisher, acclaim, developer, Tantalus, and video mode options, along with screenshots showcasing the game's signature comedic style. The next page features a review for Super Magnetic Neo, a platformer from Japanese developers Genki. Philippa Norman pens the review, highlighting its frustrating gameplay beneath its cute look. It seems like the game's central mechanic revolves around magnetism, with Neo, a robot created by the Professor, using magnetic powers to defeat the villainous Pinky Gang in Pow Pow Park. The review points out the gameplay idea is simple to grasp. using positive and negative magnetic charges to attract and repel from magnetic blocks to navigate levels. Screenshots show gameplay in colorful 3D environments. The review mentions that despite its colorful and energetic style and novel magnetic gameplay, it can be frustrating and tricky. There's a quote emphasized, "You end up wanting to snap your joypad in half," suggesting a high difficulty level. The verdict section is titled, "Pure Frustration Hidden Inside a Cuddly Little Game." Uppers include wacky characters, sharp, colorful graphics, and funky music, while downers are incredibly frustrating at times, relatively few levels, and linear level design. It also mentions, "Beaten the first boss in 1 hour," suggesting a short game length. The ODM rating is a 6 out of 10, labeled, "Pretty good." The price is listed as £39.99, publisher as Crave, and developer as Genki. It's VGA compatible, and for one player. The website is given as www.cravegames.com/games/neo/home.html. It concludes by recommending borrowing it, unless you're chilled out enough to handle the frustration. So, a mixed bag then, visually appealing but potentially controller smashingly difficult. Spirit of Speed 1937 for the Dreamcast is reviewed as a disappointing driving game. Set in the historical context of 1937 Grand Prix racing, the game attempts to capture the era's dangerous racing, featuring tracks like Brooklands and Castle Donington. However, the review criticizes the game's execution, pointing out a poor frame rate, limited competitors, and subpar graphics. The reviewer notes, the game fails to convey the excitement of high-speed racing, describing the experience as a passable driving simulation rather than thrilling. Further issues include generic music and lengthy loading times. The verdict is harsh, calling it a wasted opportunity and awarding a low score of 3 out of 10. With a retail price of £39.99, the game is published by Acclaim and developed by LJN. The review concludes that it's best avoided unless you're seeking a retro challenge. This page features a couple of game reviews, starting with Nightmare Creatures 2. It's set in 1930s London and Paris, and it's billed as a gruesome 3D action horror game. The reviewer reckons it's more about adult entertainment, with simple gameplay involving blocking and countering monster attacks. Graphically, it's described as having pixelated backdrops that might not impress PlayStation gamers. The sound is sparse, and the reviewer found it dull, also criticizing the graphics and oversimplified combat. They did however mention nice animation when swimming, which is about the only positive. The verdict is harsh, with a score of 2 out of 10, calling it rubbish and stating, 5-year-old PlayStation games are better than this. The game's price is £39.99, developed by Callisto, and published by Konami. Next up is Deep Fighter, an underwater shooter. They highlight features like dogfights against multiple enemies, 8 different vehicles with a variety of weapons and tools, and 6 expansive environments with sub-environments and minigames. It also boasts 8 bosses, up to 50 missions and submissions, and FMV cutscenes with real actors for the plot. They mention amazing graphics and living, breathing environments that react and evolve around you, and widescreen cutscenes. There's a note about a superb 2-for-1 Discover Scuba experience offer through participating PADI dive centers, which is a bit random. The developer is Criterion Studios, and publisher is Ubisoft. No score is explicitly given for Deep Fighter, but the tone is certainly more upbeat than for Nightmare Creatures 2. This page is a reviews roundup section, headline Drinking. Looks like the Dreamcast Magazine team have taken a break at home, which is described as a massive club, sounds like a London spot. They're kicking back and discussing 4 recent game releases. The games up for discussion are Aerowings 2, Airstrike, showing some sky combat there, Sydney 2000, looks like athletics events, Dead or Alive 2, a bit of fisticuffs with some of the characters, and Star Wars Episode I, Racer, with pod racing action. It mentions Dan Trent and the rest of the team heading to home. There's also some blurb about the club itself, saying it's got an exclusive 6th floor bar, and it's in Leicester Square. Sounds a bit fancy. They list opening times, 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Thursday to Saturday, and mention a website homecorp.com for more details if you were planning a night out back then. Aerowings 2, Airstrike is a generic flight sim with clunky controls, drawing comparisons to older Amiga games, but features a decent campaign. Sydney 2000, the Olympic game, is considered too slow-paced and button-mashing, with underwhelming multiplayer. Dead or Alive 2 receives praise for its visuals and accessibility, despite some feeling it's too 2D. The game is considered a solid, polished upgrade, though one reviewer prefers Capcom fighting games. Star Wars Episode 1. Racer is a fast-paced racing game but considered average and lacking weapons. While the Dreamcast version is better than others, the game feels uninspired, drawing comparisons to Wipeout but lacking key features and depth. This page in Jobs in the Industry Part 7 delves into the role of managing directors in the games industry, clarifying it's more than just being a games tester, producer, or PR executive. It profiles Adam Phillips to explain exactly what they do. Being a managing director is described as a big one, the Goliath of all jobs. Their responsibilities are broad, from hiring and firing staff to negotiating contracts with publishers and setting the company's overall direction. Prospects are described as outstanding if you have the right product and attitude, but disastrous if your vision is poor, highlighting the high stakes. Salary is pitched as potentially limitless, asking "wanna be a millionaire?", suggesting the financial rewards can be significant. Crucially, qualifications include patience, superb communication skills, organizational talent, and a firm belief in your ideas. The text elaborates on the day-to-day tasks, including deciding what games to make, managing projects for 2 years, negotiating contracts, company strategy, and hiring. They also need to ensure everyone is working towards the same goal and possess specific skills like programming and hands-on experience. It paints a picture of a demanding role that can consume your social life, but offers the freedom to be the master of your own destiny and create the games you want to play. The accompanying illustration depicts a typical office setting with 3 men, one prominently positioned in front of an Apple Mac and a Dreamcast console, reinforcing the industry context. This article profiles 3 managing directors in the games industry: Mike Diskett, Muckyfoot, Peter Molyneux, Bullfrog, and Martin Chudley, Psygnosis. They discuss their roles, highlighting the daily challenges of emails, staffing issues, and balancing creative vision with business demands. They also discuss the benefits of the role, such as freedom, creation, and the downside, which can involve time away from actually making games. They advise aspiring leaders to gain experience and prepare for hard work, emphasizing skills in marketing, finance, and personnel management. A case study of Muckyfoot's Urban Chaos showcases the publishing process. The verdict: being a managing director offers autonomy but demands immense responsibility, not a role for the faint of heart. This page is a developer interview with Andres C. Cesar, the managing director of Appaloosa, the studio behind Echo the Dolphin, defender of the future on Dreamcast. They're answering questions from readers of the magazine. Appaloosa are based in Hungary and have been knocking out games since the 80s, having made over 100 titles across various formats, including some of the original Echo games on the Mega Drive, as well as the robot fighter Cyborg Justice, and the colorful shooter Colibri on the 32XD. One reader asks why Defender of the Future is so tough, and Andres explains they aimed for deep gameplay and large worlds, not necessarily to make it rock hard. They considered multiplayer for Echo in the future, and were looking into internet features as it was becoming more common. Apparently, it took over 2 years, and a big team to create Echo. Getting Echo to look and move realistically involved loads of dolphin video footage and a specially developed animation system. SEGA approached Appaloosa to create a Dreamcast Echo, as they knew the original was a classic. Before Echo, Appaloosa made loads of games, including the Busy Town games based on Richard Scarry's books, and educational titles for the Sega Pico. Right at the bottom there's a call out for questions for the Virtua Tennis team for the next issue too. This guide provides tips for Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, specifically for the Roaring Forces and Atlantis Lost levels. In Roaring Forces, players should acquire the Stealth Glyph to avoid sharks, navigate tunnels using charge bursts, solve a wall riddle by charging into rocks, and transform into a small fish to pass through a grill. Atlantis Lost focuses on morphing, speaking to dolphins to find the Guardian, and collecting 5 gems. The guide details finding these gems, including using rings to catapult, navigating jellyfish-filled passages, and jumping through hoops. The final gem requires patience and the power of vigor, using the rings again to reach it. The hardest part is at the end, and utilizes the rings again to launch yourself across the building to get the final gem. This guide offers tips for Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, covering 4 sections. In Shrine of Controversy, players navigate after a movie sequence, find a power glyph, and battle the Crimson Leader. Master of Forgotten Skills involves a puzzle with a floating device, utilizing sonar and a tractor to move crates in a specific order. Process That Never Ends guides players through a tunnel with machinery, requiring them to use sonar on glass domes and time their movements to avoid teeth and utilize conveyor belt rocks. Blades in Motion leads to a boss fight, involving finding a glyph and Power of Vigor, navigating rotating blades, using Power of Sonar on cracked objects, and ultimately defeating a boss by charging into its markings. After the boss, players light up floating balls to progress. The walkthrough continues with Perpetual Fluidity, focusing on pipe navigation, sonar use, and avoiding obstacles like fans and mines. Obscure Ways to Terminus is a shorter level involving tunnel exploration and current navigation. Sleeping Forces of Doom details a challenging boss fight against a shield-protected enemy with snakeheads. Players must use sonar to hurl rocks at the shield and snakes, utilizing AirPods for shield regeneration. Breaking the shield reveals a blue light needed to defeat the snakes and advance. The right side features an ad for PC Gear magazine. Readers can claim 3 trial issues with 2 free CD-ROMs for £2.49, with a 50% subscription discount. A risk-free guarantee allows cancellation within 2 weeks for a full refund, letting subscribers keep the trial issues and CD-ROMs. Subscription information and contact details are provided. This page is a Tony Hawk skateboarding player guide, a handy little pullout from the magazine. It's all about racking up big scores in this classic skateboarding game. There's a breakdown of basic moves and points, covering grabs like Japan Air and Benihana, flips such as Shove It and Finger Flip, grinds and plants like Wall Ride and 50 Grind, and ollies. It also explains signature moves, which require that special bar to be flashing yellow, and clarifies the trick types: T for midair, H for handplants, and G for grinds. Then we get into the pro skaters and their signature tricks. Bob Burnquist kicks things off with his backflip and burn twist. Boki Lasek has a fingerflip airwalk and varial heel flip judo. Kareem Campbell shows off the front flip and kickflip underflip. Rune Blifberg's moves are the kickflip mech twist and Christ air. Alyssa Steamer brings us the backflip and judo Madonna. Of course, Tony Hawk himself is featured with the 540 board varial and 360 flip to mute, and Jeff Rowley has the backflip and double hard flip. Chad Musker's signature moves are the front flip and 360 shove it rewind. Andrew Reynolds is next with the backflip and triple kickflip, and finally Jamie Thomas with the front flip and 540 flip. Each move helpfully lists the command, type, and point score. Good stuff for getting the edge in the game. This page provides gameplay secrets for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Officer Dick is unlocked from the start, and Private Carrera can be unlocked later via a specific code. The text details point modifiers, emphasizing the importance of trick rotation. Hidden tapes are located in warehouse, school, mall, downtown, downhill jam, and streets. Cheat codes, entered while paused and holding the left trigger, include slow motion, big head, skip to restart, always full special meter, maxed stats, and unlocking all levels. Trick repetition lowers your score multiplier. Avoid repeating tricks. To unlock everything, use a specific button combination, followed by a separate code for Private Carrera. An advertisement promotes Toy Story 2 for Dreamcast, available for £32.99, and encourages sales through various online and phone ordering options. The next page is an advert for Gameplay, who are clearly keen on getting your business for all things Dreamcast. They're showcasing the Dreamcast console itself, which they're bundling with Choo Choo Rocket for £149.99. Games-wise, they've got a good selection, highlighting titles like Metropolis Street Racer, Dead or Alive 2, and Ferrari F355 Challenge. You can also spot classics there, like Sonic Adventure and Soul Calibur in the list. It's not just games though, they are pushing all sorts of accessories, from carry cases and keyboards to VMUS, and all manner of cables you might need. They're making a point about their customer service too, boasting about free 48-hour delivery, and not charging your card until your order is actually sent out, which is always reassuring. And there's even a classic cut-out order form, for those who like to do things the traditional way. They've got a landline number if you want to phone up, and a website of course, gameplay.com. This page is pushing Street Fighter Alpha 3, looks like a proper classic beat-em-up doesn't it? They're offering a bundle with an official arcade controller, must give you a proper edge for those dragon punches. Looks like the game on its own is £32.99, or you can grab the whole bundle for £64.99. Then there's a section on challenges for the month. They're giving away copies of Virtua Tennis as prizes, not bad at all. This month's games to test your skills are Wacky Races, tasking you to get the fastest time on Lumberjack Lake in Redwood Valley. Any car goes. Tony Hawk Skateboarding Challenge wants to see your highest scoring trick in single session mode. And for Dead or Alive 2, it's all about time attack mode, fastest time with any character. There's a results section as well, showing the winners from last month's challenges: Crazy Taxi, SEGA Bass Fishing, and SEGA Rally 2. Winners got copies of MDK2 apparently. Joridon. Right at the top they've got a phone for help section, looks like the Dreamcast Magazine tips hotline if you're stuck on a game. And down at the bottom they're reminding you about gameplay's contact details again, just like the last page: web address, phone number, even interactive TV and WAP, showing their full range of ways to get in touch. This page offers solutions to classic video game problems, and reveals cheat codes. A Soul Calibur player needs help with Ivy's Summon Suffering move. Another wants Gil's special moves in Street Fighter 2e. Someone needs Set-X in the Nomad's Soul, easily found in Kale's apartment. Tips are provided for Worms Armageddon's Mission 10, and finding dual handguns in Zombie Revenge. Dead or Alive 2 players learn how to get Zack's costume. The page also features classic cheats. SEGA Rally 2 has a hidden challenge. Virtua Tennis offers surface selection. Echo the Dolphin has a secret football game. Rally 2 unlocks everything. Street Fighter Alpha 3 unlocks Shin Akuma. Fighting Force 2 allows level selection. Soul Calibur has unlockables. Dead or Alive 2 unlocks a new sequence by setting your age to 21. The page ends with a call for more reader contributions. This issue's Games Directory reviews Dreamcast titles. Highlights include Choo Choo Rocket, 9/10, a charming online game. Dead or Alive 2, 8/10, praised for its graphics and balance. Evolution, 8/10, a recommended RPG. And F1 World Grand Prix, 8/10, a driving sim. Other games reviewed include Four Wheel Thunder, Aerowings, Blue Stinger, Buggy Heat, Buster Move 4, Deadly Skies, Deep Fighter, Dynamite Cop, ECW Hardcore Revolution, Fighting Force 2, Fur Fighters, Gauntlet Legends, and GTA 2, with varying scores. The Visual Memory, FAQ, explains the Dreamcast's memory card, its storage capacity, and its use for saving games and running minigames. It details block usage for various games, and covers battery replacement. It also mentions VM animations, available online, and lists games with VM minigames like Sonic Adventure. This Dreamcast Games Directory reviews a variety of titles. Racing games like Hydro Thunder and Crazy Taxi are praised, while SEGA Rally 2 impresses visually. Mortal Kombat Gold and Plasma Sword disappoint, but NBA 2K and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure are highlights. Action games Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and MDK2 offer depth, while Marvel vs. Capcom and its sequel are chaotic fun. Sports titles like NFL Blitz 2000 and Ready to Rumble Boxing are enjoyable in short bursts. House of the Dead 2 is a classic light gun shooter. Look. An accompanying FAQ focuses on Dreamcast Online functionality. It details basic web browsing, email capabilities, and the limitations of the Dreamkey browser. It mentions newsgroup usage and highlights Choo Choo Rocket as the only current online game. The FAQ also covers dial-up setup, cost, and available online games like Sonic Adventure and SEGA Rally 2. It clarifies that US or Japanese online services aren't available in the UK, and offers contact information for online support. The Dreamcast boasts a diverse library. Notable fighting games include the inventive Power Stone, anime-inspired Psychic Force 2012, and the universally acclaimed masterpiece Soul Calibur. Platformers like Rayman 2 shine, while Resident Evil 2 delivers classic survival horror. Other standouts include SEGA Rally 2, the addictive SEGA Bass Fishing, and the visually impressive Resident Evil, Code Veronica. Arcade racers like Speed Devils and Star Wars Episode I Racer provide fast-paced fun, and Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Street Fighter Double Impact offer classic 2D fighting. Games like Sonic Adventure and Shadow Man are worth a look despite minor flaws. A brief FAQ section provides info on peripherals. The light gun is incompatible with certain TVS. VGA boxes offer enhanced visuals, and the Rumble Pack, arcade stick, and steering wheel are available for specific game genres. Other future plans include the DreamOn camera and a zip drive. Pool. This Dreamcast Game Directory features reviews of various titles. Sydney 2007 offers straightforward sports action. Tech Romancer, 6/10, delivers robot fighting. Tee-Off, 7/10, is a refreshing golf game, while The Nomad Soul, 5/10, is a futuristic adventure starring David Bowie. Tomb Raider, TLR, 7/10, is a familiar yet solid addition. Tony Hawk's Skateboarding, 7/10, has good gameplay, but less than stellar graphics. Toy Commander, 8/10, is an inventive wargame, and Trick Style, 7/10, offers hoverboarding action. UEFA Striker, 8/10, is a realistic football game, considered one of the best. Vigilante 8-2 ND Offense, 5/10, is motorized combat. Virtua Fighter 3 TB, 7/10, offers deep fighting. Virtua Striker 2 7/10 is accessible arcade football. Rally 2 Expert Edition, 7/10, is a fast-paced racing game. Wacky Races, 7/10, is a Mario Kart-style racer. Weetrix Plus 6/10 is a puzzle game. Worms Armageddon, 8/10, is a classic. WWF Attitude, 3/10, is poorly executed wrestling. Zombie Revenge, 7/10, is a House of the Dead spin-off. Ads are also included for cheat services and game trading. Warrington. This page features the Reader Reviews section, where readers share their opinions on Dreamcast games. Dead or Alive 2 gets a mixed reception, with one reader saying it's only good if you're hard enough, while acknowledging the graphics are stunning but gameplay is more button-mashy than Soul Calibur. Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, is praised for its fantastic atmosphere and relaxing gameplay, with amazing graphics and underwater environments. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is lauded as the most amazing fighting game ever played, incredibly fast-paced and visually impressive, with perfect gameplay and music. Wacky Races is described as brilliantly translating the cartoon to a game, with great graphics and fun gameplay, with one reader suggesting it deserves at least a 9 out of 10. There's also a FAQ section covering miscellaneous Dreamcast questions, such as what a Grey Drum is, why Japanese and American games might not play on a UK Dreamcast due to territorial lockout, and why game release dates can change. It also touches on when Shenmue is coming out in the UK, stating early December, according to SEGA Europe. The next page in the magazine presents a section dedicated to website reviews, specifically focusing on travel websites. It's quite the departure from games, isn't it? This page is all about planning your holidays online, back in the year 2000, and it asks if you're after cheap flights or travel guides. It runs through a number of travel websites, categorized by travel need. There's beer trips for the, shall we say, discerning drinker, then cheap flights, which is pretty self-explanatory, travel advice from the Foreign Office for essential information, and last-minute deals for the spontaneous among us. There are more, such as CNN Traveler, for news whilst on the move, currency exchange rate sites, eDreams, tips for trips, cruises, Alones, SmartPack for luggage, Thomas Cook, a household name of course, Expedia, Extreme Sports Holidays, Good Beach Guide, Hotel Trade, Naturists Holidays, Outside for outdoor pursuits, Places to stay, Skiing, Travelocity, U-Travel, Weather forecasts, and Weekender Plus for shorter breaks. Finally, there's Rough Guides and Language Guide for learning the lingo. Each website gets a short paragraph description explaining what it offers. For example, Beer Trips helps you discover the history of beer, Cheap Flights finds you budget air travel, and the Foreign Office site gives essential travel advice. It's a handy guide to online travel resources of the time, even if it does seem a little out of place in a Dreamcast magazine. Dreamcast Magazine's The Big Debate discusses the nascent state of video game TV shows. Panelists including industry professionals like Ed Wood, Lee Curtin, and David Springate share their views. They critique current shows for their scarcity, lack of profile, and late-night scheduling. They desire more hardcore content, focusing on level design and the online scene. They also debate what translates well to TV. Ollie Quinn suggests selecting games suited for TV, citing the success of virtual reality shows with games like Metal Gear Solid. Ed emphasizes the importance of quality footage. The panel also wants more industry insights and in-depth analysis, with special features like tournaments. Strengths include showcasing gameplay and different stages. Weaknesses include dealing with violence and sex, a challenge as games often feature these elements. The discussion highlights the evolution of video game TV coverage and aspirations for the future. The next page of Dreamcast Magazine continues the big debate about video game telly, doesn't it? Steve Keen, Lee Curtin, Stephen, Ollie, David, and ODM are still chatting away. They're still on about why broadcasters are a bit scared of showing video games, reckon it's because they don't think there's a big enough audience, which is daft really. Steve makes a point about broadcasters being too old and out of touch, and Lee chimes in about how quickly people in telly jump to conclusions about games. They mention Nightmare Creatures 2 and how even though they filmed gameplay footage, they thought it was too violent for morning TV. Shows you what they know. They ponder how video game TV will evolve. Steven reckons we'll see dedicated channels from Sega or Sony, a bit like MTV but for games. Steve thinks interactive shows are the way forward, getting viewers involved from home. Ollie jokes about the possibility of live deathmatches on TV, like the Beebs' Bleeding Thumbs, and the panel discusses whether people would actually watch those sorts of things. Lee reckons everyone could get involved in a massive game show online, and Steve suggests a game show where the winner gets £1 million for being the deathmatch champ. They finish up agreeing they need to bring the whole games industry together to make video game TV work, and that they hope shows like Bleeding Thumbs, Bits and Game Over all succeed. Fingers crossed, eh? This month's letters section covers various reader concerns. One reader is annoyed about pre-order availability in Sega's marketing. Another criticizes the magazine's preview lengths, while another defends game delays. A humorous letter describes premature completion of games. Readers complain about the us getting games first. A letter thanks Sega for helping a reader's art project. Suggestions are made for VMU integration with games, and also a letter asks if the reviews editor looks like Tom Cruise. The Ask Sega section addresses topics like the number of Shenmue discs, colored controller availability, age restrictions for a competition, and cheaper VMU options. Sega confirms the online-only aspect of Phantasy Star Online's main quest, discusses playable demos, and responds to a reader's thoughts on game difficulty and specific reviews. The magazine concludes by encouraging readers to submit letters. This page showcases a couple of adverts. On the left, there's an intriguing advert for something called N.Game. It's a rather quirky idea where someone has turned a tower block into a gigantic game of Tetris, which apparently was cooked up by a chap called Yank Keith Drybelbis at Brown University as part of a tech house project. Sounds like a bit of a student prank that got seriously out of hand, turning the side of a building into a playable Tetris screen. Bonkers really. Then on the right hand side, it's all about the official Sydney 2000, the game of the games. This one's promoting itself as having a dozen grueling events, representing over 30 countries, with all the usual modes you'd expect like Olympic and arcade modes, plus some coaching options and even virtual gyms. It's pushing the authentic angle, motion capture and all that, and naturally it's coming to the Dreamcast alongside the PlayStation and PC. Eidos is publishing this one, aiming to cash in on the Olympic hype I imagine.